Welcome to the Jon and Paul radio show brought to you by adventuresinministry.com and the Palisades Church of Christ right here in the Magic City, and also the Lions Leaders program. I am Paul Sperling. With me, not as always, but in virtuality, with me as always is Jon Paul, but actually literally here with me today with Jon Paul. He's right here. I'm looking at him, and this is the show, the Jon Paul Show. Welcome.
Man, Paul, how are you doing? Have you missed me, Paul?
I missed you, Jon.
You sound like you missed me a little bit.
Yeah, because I got sick.
Because you got sick. Paul is sick today, but you know what? He's alive.
I'm alive, and I'm breathing through my mouth.
I don't even know how to. Wow. Colin Little's already coming after me. He said, "Wow, we have a live and in-person appearance."
Right. Welcome. We are blessed by your presence.
Man, it's been a little while since we've been able to get together.
It's been a day or two.
It has been a day or two. I've even been to Texas and back.
You have.
Yes.
I've been to South Georgia and back.
You have. Yes. Oh man, Landon wanted to see my halo around. I'm sure you get that next week or whenever.
Hopefully we fix that problem.
No, because next week I'll be. Your phone is ringing back there. I just saw it.
Don't call me.
Oh man. So yeah, we are back here, the Jon and Paul Show. We are in our season of college football has passed us.
Thank goodness. Let's get on to more life.
What's wrong, Paul? You don't want to talk anymore about that?
No, it's over. It's time to move on.
It's time to move on.
215 days until college football kicks off.
Oh my word!
Really excited.
I bet you're excited in there.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for the next chapter.
Hey, but you know what? You know what the next chapter is? It's next week, right?
Next week.
It is next week.
It's usually the middle of
or week after.
Lectures.
Week after, yeah, week after.
First week of first Wednesday of February.
Yeah, it will be. That'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. There's a lot of people making some moves still up the rankings, and some are moving drastically down. I will not mention the name, but I will say it just has letters that begin with an F and an S and a U. They're heading in the wrong direction, which I'm pretty happy about.
Oh my goodness. Don't worry, folks. We don't disparage everybody on this show. Just the rivals of the teams of Jon Paul now.
Oh, that is true. Landon says Braves baseball will be here soon, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah, pitchers catchers report the first week of February. So yeah, that'll be awesome.
It will be. It'll be.
Wonder if one Craig Kimbrell will be a part of that group. They've been the talks have been towards that. He's expensive, but he's worth it.
Yeah, but I've been hearing that because of how expensive he is, it could go the other direction.
I get that. Rays don't spend money.
They don't. So, but we'll be able to talk about baseball here coming up soon. But we do want to talk a little bit about, before we get into our ministry talk here for today, which is going to be a very interesting conversation.
It is.
For everybody that's listening and tuning in.
We're going to upset some people probably.
We probably will upset some people. Okay. But, well, probably not the majority of our audience.
No, probably not.
They'll be right on board with us.
Yeah.
That's true. Colin says, what about the Huntsville Trash Pandas? We can talk about the Huntsville Trash Pandas.
True fact. Okay.
Yes, so true fact on this.
I went there last weekend. I was there last weekend. Went for a hotel site visit. You know, John goes all over the country. I just go to Huntsville. So I go to Huntsville.
It is what it is.
With Veronica and Dale Jenkins and Stephanie Sperlin.
Stephanie went with you.
We went there and we went to the Trash Panda store at Bridge Street. Strategically sitting right next to the Apple Store.
It is.
We had to see it. So
you cannot tell me they did not plan that ahead of time.
They knew what they're doing. So it was closed. And it doesn't open until February 1st. And Stephanie was so upset because she wanted to get her a Trash Panda t-shirt.
That would be awesome. If Steph got a Trash Panda t-shirt, we would put that. That would be the new profile pic for the Jon and Paul page.
Her and her brother go back and forth, making fun of each other about trash pandas and raccoons and such.
Oh, you mean
which is what
the real name? I was
supposed
to say the real name of it.
Are they Madison or are they Alabama? Are they Huntsville?
I think they're considered
Huntsville Stars before.
I think they're still considered Huntsville, but they're playing in Madison.
They're in Madison. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But we're going to call ourselves something different. Of course, that's the case for the Jets, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
they play in Jersey.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter, where you live. It's who you want to be called.
It's who you want to be called. That's correct. Like Paul is he lives in Trustville, but he calls himself Birmingham.
I love Trustville. I love City Trustville. My fellow Trustvillians. It's a great thing.
Trustvillians.
But Birmingham, yeah, And I will say, and I know people are probably wondering, asking if you don't live in Birmingham, how's the traffic in Birmingham? I must say, it's not as bad as you think. It's really
It hasn't been. Okay, has everybody out there? You've probably seen because you've probably seen the memes that have come out, or the ostrich put it out of the Adamsville Church of Christ somebody put on their their page that said, "Good thing that AlDOT didn't determine make the way to heaven or something like that to play to heaven, because they sure didn't plan out too well breaking down 5920 2059 or whatever you want to call it, but it has started here in Birmingham.
Pieces. I drove underneath it today, and I'm like,
I was about to say, did you drive over it?
No, I was under it. I went right to it. You know how it's hard to explain. It's just I'm not. It's just so hard to explain. But anyway, the roads we have to get when you come in from Interstate I-20, Atlanta, from the Trussville area where I come from. I drive in. You have to hit 31 280, and as you hit it to go around, it takes you back around. 31 turned into Homewood. Right. When I come here to the church building, is you're actually going underneath where 59 used to be, and it used to be there. I mean, we're talking. Well, today's Friday. It was there Monday. Maybe they closed it down Friday night.
Did you see that they put up a live camera that you could watch the machines tearing pieces of it?
No, that would have been fun to watch because I'm not a good direction person. GPS is my friend.
Jerry, so. Now Jerry's saying he came down here on Tuesday and it was horrific, and he went back country roads.
What time Tuesday did he come down?
I don't know. That's a good question, Jerry. What time did you come down? And did you come down? I will say, coming up 65 today, and they had some lane shifts because they finally have decided to open up pieces of what they were doing around Alabaster. I made it through with no problem. Okay. And so it was pretty good.
Well, of course, I've been sick for the majority of the week, so I had to come in a little later, and so that worked out.
We're going to blame it that Paul's been sick. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Probably so. I'm on drugs, so I'm under the influence right now.
He said 10 a.m. on Tuesday.
10 a.m. had trouble? See, I came in between 9 and 10 most days, and they're done. And today I came in earlier. I was coming about 8:15, nothing, no problem at all. Of course, I came in on 20, and I followed the roads, obviously, to the 280, 31 deal. So I try to avoid 459 because
that's what I'm about to go on here.
Oh yeah, don't do that. No, you don't need to do that
because I got to get to Trussville.
You can go another way.
Oh, okay.
Go Homewood, 31, 280 to 20, and 20 will take you.
I just want you to tell me. I just want you to know that's pretty confusing what you just all said.
You can follow me. I'll take that there.
But we've had a busy couple of weeks. You were last weekend. No, 2 weekends ago. You were down in Valdosta.
That is correct.
At the Southern Summit.
That is correct.
Hosted by the Moultrie Church of Christ, Jake Sutton and those guys over there, doing a great job down there. And you and Wes went. Yeah,
we got to speak to all the kids that showed up to that, and. It was don't ask, and it was good. It was good. The convention center, is a first class organization. The staging whoever they got to help them and put that together was really first class. That they know what they're doing, where they are with what they have, and so it's a growing program. And
we're sponsored by ChickfilA.
This
show brought to you by ChickfilA.
ChickfilA. Yeah. When we were in Montgomery, actually, we did have a sponsorship from them. But just because they gave us some free stuff for AimCon, it's pretty cool. You give us free stuff, and we'll talk about you on our radio show.
That's right.
Yay! Paid for.
Well, good. So, did you have a good trip?
It was good. It was a long drive, but it was good. Enjoyed the time with Wes. Talked about some things, and we're able to get a little AIM stuff done, a little exposure stuff done. So, a little multitasking on that. Got to speak the truth, and it was awesome. It was good. Good time.
Well, good
trip.
Well, that's awesome.
And you just finished an event.
I did.
That you attended as a vendor and as a song leader.
Yes.
That's a different thing for you.
That would have been a different thing. I
don't know how that goes. In Dallas, as the CYC Dallas occurred, Larry and company continuing the CYC thing there in Dallas. Don't forget. In the next last weekend of February, Gatlinburg will have a repeat
23rd, 24th, 25th, somewhere around there.
So the same speakers do the same topics in the Gatlinburg?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes? Okay.
But there'll be some different speakers. One that was out there that won't be in Pigeon Forge was Wes McAdams. First time I got to hear Wes speak.
How'd he do?
He did a good job. He did a good job. You know, you always see a lot of us get to see things that he would write about.
Yeah.
And so it was good to get to meet him. Out in Pigeon Forge, it'll be Chris Miller.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard Chris before.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
And so that'll be exciting. But they do a great job, wonderful job. CYC Dallas is really picking up. It really get a chance to meet people from Oklahoma, South Texas, real South Texas. Saw Kenneth Pinkley had joined in here. He all the way from Corpus Christi. Got to see him.
Of course, probably should have said this too. You're vendoring for Lads Leaders, working for Lads.
Yes.
So if you're in the Texas area, if you're in any area,
yes,
and you're not doing Lads Leaders, and you're
call
wondering
me.
what is it, call Jon Paul.
That's correct.
Or send us an email at
That's correct.
jonnpaulshow at gmail.com, and we will.
It's been a while since you said that.
It has been. It has been. I lose my mind. I'm sitting here with questions in my eyes because I'm just like, is that what I do? I can't.
It's been a while. We've been out of practice here a little bit since. Everything's been kind of crazy.
Did we have a show last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
that's right.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Tell us why we didn't have a show last week, Podine. Let me. I wish I could. I should lift my iPad and show you the conversation. We were having this conversation. We're doing a show. Yeah, no problem. Okay, make sure. Hey, I'll call you back in a sec. SEC. To me, that means second. I heard back from him 4 days later. So, what say you, Podine?
I did run into a light fixture while I was there. It may have knocked me.
Low hanging
back.
lights there in Texas, I guess.
I'm not a tall person, and I smashed my head right into it. Blood coming out, all that good stuff. But I'm alive. I'm alive. And I'm back.
Then,
what?
So you run into the light.
Do I have to tell the rest of it?
I think they need to know. Our listening audience need to know why we didn't bring them a product last week.
Oh, fell back.
Backwards?
Backwards.
So was a chair going to catch your fall, or did you straight hit the floor?
No, I straight hit the floor.
I'm so sorry.
Straight hit the floor.
Now, if this is embarrassing for you, we can stop and move on. Or would you like to finish it? Flip the script anytime. I don't care.
I may have landed on my phone.
Destroyed phone. Had Apple to send that back
It's
to
up
you.
here, Caleb. Yes. It's
Yeah,
right in
you
here.
can't even see it. He called me. I got a gash on my head.
did not.
Send me a
I did
picture.
not.
I'm like,
I did
hey,
not
can you give me
say
a
that.
close up of that picture? It was like,
You're terrible. You're so terrible.
But he's alive and kicking.
Oh my word.
Fixing to be kicking me probably. But
yeah, if this table wasn't here, I'd be knocking you out.
Yeah,
But we had a good time.
Good.
We had a good time in CYC and made our way back here to good old Montgomery, Alabama. Well, no, now I'm in Birmingham, but made it back. I made it back to
Even
Montgomery.
better, Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
That's right.
So-
Magic City. Well, the magic happens. The magic, hey, the magic of the beard.
Magic of the beard. Paul has a beard, everybody. It's a little gray, but it looks good.
Experience, wisdom.
Experience and wisdom.
Fought for my Lord, fought for my country. What's up?
That's right. And we're going to talk about your country here in a
We
second.
are, actually.
Some interesting things taking place. We are now at our point, if people have watched our show for long enough, they know that during this time of the year, we spend some time talking about certain topics, special topics and things, and especially in our ministry portion. And some of the things that we'll get into is actually more than sports because, it's kind of a dead time. College basketball is going big. The NBA is still going. But
teams in the SEC are in basketball actually doing really well.
unless you're Florida,
It's crazy. Oh,
but Tennessee, number one. Let's talk about
almost
that.
lost
Almost lost.
to unranked Alabama.
That's correct.
Bama had that game.
That's correct.
Oh well.
But so interesting things taking place, and so if you've watched this during this time, we'll talk about some things, and we'll get a little more in depth because we got some more time to go in depth with our show during this time of the year. And we thought, why not start with a bang? With our topics that we're going to get into to this week. And if you've been keeping your eyes on television, which I know a lot of you have, especially because of
Well, and set it up too about the social aspect of life
Yes.
and what we do as Christians and things like that.
everybody understands right now we're in a pretty divided country where we're at. You can just look and see, and that's why I'm saying most people watch TV. Watching the shutdown and who's to blame, when's it going to get back to work. I know some people were flying this week and, TSA's a little bit. I've got to take off and fly Tuesday to Orlando, and I've got to take off from Atlanta, so I know I've got to get there probably a lot earlier
As long as they don't close
to
down.
get through that line and everything. And some things have happened, in our world, and there's a lot of things that people talk about on social issues. And so that's kind of where we wanted to get into a little bit today of where is the Christian's response to some of these social issues. with some things, and this week there were some two big things in particular that we want to bring up that came down the pipe. One was from New York State, and one was actually from President Trump within the federal government about the military. This has been all over, and I think the sad part is the military one has kind of gotten played back because of what's taking place in New York State,
and because of how it went.
Yes,
if they would have gotten their way, it would be at the forefront, or side by side.
Absolutely, it would. Absolutely, it would.
When the devil and I said that when the devil, Satan, and the world has a win. Hollywood, the news. Maybe not Fox News, but most news networks, they want to put it out there. They want to put on the front lines of welcome to the world. We're falling apart, and we're going to make it okay, and everybody's going to be okay with it. If you're okay, I'm okay. We're all okay, and that's just that's the mentality of what's going on in society, and it's destructive. And as bad as we thought it was when we were in college and high school,
oh man,
it's much worse. And our kids, they're going to have to do this later on. So if we don't take a stand today and make a difference in the ways we can, how can we leave something better for our kids and their kids? So
well, and I think one thing that you've been saying, Paul, is correct in some of this, and I think people need to understand. There's a lot of things that we call social things or social justice, and some of the. And I want to say this right from the outpoint. I was thinking about this as I was driving up here. A lot of the things that we consider social issues, to me, as Christians, aren't necessarily social issues. It's just depending on what's right and what's wrong.
That's true.
It's not about is this your, we kind of live in this relativistic morality type society on, as long as it doesn't affect me, those people in California, they can do what they want to do, or the people in New York can do what they want to do because it's not affecting me. And it comes down to, it's just what's right and what's wrong. And wouldn't you say?
I think so. I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that we still are to be biblically driven in all that we do. And I'm reminded of Proverbs 2, verse 9, that you'll understand the righteousness and justice, equity, and every good path. And if you do that, you go to Proverbs chapter 2, 1 through 9, you'll find basically it's a listing of how we can understand the value of wisdom, that God is going to give us, that He gave to Solomon, and the same, hopefully better, wisdom that we have in our life.
And the Lord does say if you pray for it, He will give it to you.
But it all comes to choices, John.
It does come to
choices. He gave choices for Solomon, and he had to make choices. He had to make his people make choices, and he made some terrible ones and some good ones. But and today we're making some good choices and some bad choices in life. And so I just think we need to reflect on what God has given to us about understanding. And knowledge is not king, but knowledge matched with the wisdom and the understanding of what is right and what is not right is what's going to carry us through the day.
Right.
And it's not going to be popular. People aren't going to like us because of it. But here's the deal: you don't have to like me. I'm not the one that's the deal here. This is something God has asked for. This is God has required of us. And we shouldn't care if I don't want people to not like me. And I don't want people to have a problem with me. And I want them to like me. And I want to be part of the group. And I want to be part of God's group. And that's what it all should come down to.
This week has been such a I don't even know how to describe it. We started Monday with Martin Luther King holiday.
Right.
And everybody praises Dr. King, and rightfully so, for being one of the leaders within the civil rights movement back in the day.
Sure.
And fighting for things. And he's talking about love defeats hate. He does all these things. He talks about standing up for the sanctity of life because of people. And see, even that, for a Christian, it's right or wrong. We shouldn't be looking upon people differently because of the color of their skin.
Right.
That shouldn't even be necessarily a social issue, but it has turned into it. But on Monday they're doing that, and then was it on Tuesday is when New York, the governor from New York State, signed into law. And I got to ask this: do you ever think we would ever live in a day and a time in our world, in our country, that you and I would see a law that is passed? A law that has been passed, and I'm just going to say it this way, in abortion law,
Yeah.
the murder of a child at the point basically of birth.
We should be talking less about trying to abort children and start talking about adopting children.
I think, personally, I think adoption's good.
I think, yeah, I would have a hard time if you would have a hard time with that, being a product of that.
Yes.
And so, so the work that people do, I mean, please understand there are other options. Women do live past pregnancy. Granted, I'm sure I don't understand this part of it, but I know that the 9 months have got to be treacherous. I mean, I know they're not fun. I've been around a person who had a couple of those situations, so I kind of, from viewing that, I understand that it can be tough.
Sure.
But don't kill them. And that's what's happening in New York. They're saying, yeah, just destroy those things. And they're treating them as if that's what they are. They're treating them as if these children are things.
Right.
That it's a piece of paper you can just tear up and crunkle and throw away and just move on to the next one. I mean, where's the right in that?
Well, and this is...
Because there's not one.
Okay, okay, you had on Martin Luther King Day, you know the big blow up that took place between the students from Covington High School, Catholic High School up in Kentucky, as they are up there, and the backlash that they received.
Right.
And to me, this is the irony of this whole thing. You have some of the Hollywood elite sitting up bashing these kids for protesting, and because they were there originally for the pro-life protest, to be able to protest for pro-life, especially coming out with this thing that just came out, this law just came out, and they're bashing them because, oh, you're fighting against a woman's freedom of woman's reproductive blah blah blah, with all these things going through there, and yet then they bash them and say these kids need to die for what they did to this Native American, which if you saw the longer video, it was completely different. We have got to slow down in this world.
Yeah.
and we are jumping off the deep end on so many major things. But then when you watch this law pass, and then they actually changed the Empire State Building to pink in honor and glorying of it. Mm-hmm. I there was no words.
I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality of people. It's a people who have left I guess the conscience of knowing that someone greater than us, someone better than us, someone who created us is one day going to make a judgment on the life that we've lived and the impact we've made in the lives of others. And I just don't understand why people why they're living this way, why they act like they have no control, and they just want to go with what's happening and what's occurring in society, and just jumping on board with just straight up wrong. Mm-hmm. and that they feel like we have, we're like, I don't know, it's like, the old tale of the dog, Rover, when he's dead all over.
Yeah.
When he's dead, you're not to worry about it anymore. That's not true. When we die, we're going to have to deal with this stuff. We're going to have to answer for these things. And I don't understand. I don't get it.
It's interesting that you say that, because we got a lot of comments coming in already. Thomas Garner, he said that New York needs to read Luke 17:2. Which talks about it's better for a person to have a millstone hung around his neck and thrown into the sea than the thin one of the little ones. Jerry Elder mentions about Genesis 6. We know the world's bad, but not as bad as it was back in Genesis 6 when God saw that the wickedness of man on their thoughts were on evil continually in there. Chip McEwen's coming in. We must stand up and speak, and we're going to talk about this here in a minute. What is our Christian response to this? We must say sin is not pleasing to God, and stating these things to be practiced, not in a judging way, but showing people how God reacts to them in a loving way. And this is one thing I wanted to bring up to talk about being inconsistent. Is what Caleb just posted in here, is that he saw this post that it's illegal with jail time to destroy a bald eagle egg, but it's not to do so of an unborn human being. I remember when I was preaching in Calhoun, I wrote an article for the Bulletin there. This is when we're first starting to send probes to Mars. Mm-hmm. We're looking for bacteria, and we're scared that if we go up there, we're looking for life. We're looking for just a bacteria, some sort of cell, something that says here is life. Mm-hmm. But yet, the unborn child in a mother's womb is not considered life.
Where is the justice in that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand. They care more about something that has no soul than something that does upon conception. So I don't get it.
Well, and so here's the thing. Let's go to our next topic within all this, and then we're going to come and kind of get with our Christian response with all this. The second thing that really big that happened this week within this place was within the military, Paul.
Right.
And I know this means a lot to you since you served.
Yeah. When I went in, 19, none of your business. It was in the mid-90s. That was the situation of gay in the military, and where they did allow that. The rule was it was a don't ask, don't tell thing. So they were not to talk about it. They were not to speak of it. My understanding was if they did speak of it, they could be ejected or taken out of active service.
Right.
So what's happened here is with the transgender situation is they're trying to make it available for transgenders to be able to join the military, to take part in active service. And my understanding is during the shutdown, I don't know if the shutdown helped where Congress didn't meet or something didn't happen, but whatever happened was President Trump tried to get a bill approved, and Supreme Court confirmed it that transgenders could not participate in active military service.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that means they can't go on maneuvers in hazardous areas, if there are certain jobs they can't have, or if they can't. My understanding is they can't even be in.
Right.
And so it's another one of those things where you just don't talk about it. If you do, you're out. And so that's my understanding of what that is. Again, we're going back to something that God has created that man is trying to destroy and make it what he wants and not what God wants.
Right.
And I think that goes all, I know this is a different subject, but it kind of goes back to John 4:23-24, where God's looking for true worshipers. He's also looking for true believers. Mm-hmm. People that will follow him and do what he asked them to do because it's what he asked us to do. You know, we meet on Sunday, and this is why folks have left the church. This is why people have gone to their own thing, to do their own thing, because that's the whole point of the matter is they're doing their thing. They're not doing God's thing. And that's the whole issue of the whole matter, is the fact that they care more about self than they do about Creator and Judge and God and Father. And that's the issue that we have. And it's a sad thing that people have left that.
Well, and I think Jerry makes a very pointed point of what we're trying to say here. He says, quit banking on government to make your changes. Yeah. Let us make the changes in our home, teaching the world around us when confronted, move on and keep teaching. And I think that's where it's got to start. Here's the thing: everything that you see taking place in Washington, whether it is through protests, whether it's through certain things in the government, folks, this didn't just pop out of an egg one day and it's like, oh look, everything is changing and all this world is it is learned behavior. It is learned from there were certain morals and certain things that were instilled upon them as young people. Mm-hmm. And it is part of the upbringing, it's part of the raising, and that's where it's got to start, is changing at home. And folks, this is where the church, we've got to, and I think we understand it. We may not know how to attack it maybe in the best way or to be able to confront it, but I think what Jerry said is probably key is we've got to start within our own homes of teaching these godly principles and teaching them in a way that our young people, they're instilled in them to a point not of a, oh, I'm better than you thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But of just, standing up for what is right, standing up for what it is, and not being ashamed of it. Definitely not in an arrogant way, but in a non-ashamed of it way. You and I both know kids that we're shocked at a little bit that they have this kind of moral relevancy of, well, it's not me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah. If it doesn't affect them, they don't have an opinion. But I think as Christians, we have to have an opinion because we need to know which way to go and what the finish line is. And so we live our life. We do the best things we can do, and we speak where the Bible speaks and silent where it's silent. And, too many people are living in the gray, and they like the gray to reside. And it's just it's a shame.
That's an interesting point that you say that, and then the way that you make that, Paul, is that it is kind of like living in the gray, and it is like, well, it just is what it is, and not a big deal to me, or it doesn't bother my church, so I'm not affected by it. Folks, if we are part of the Lord's church, we're all together.
Right.
We are part of one. And we are part of the family of God, and it does affect us. That's why when Paul says in 1 Corinthians 12, when one person hurts, one person weeps, we all weep. When we rejoice, you can't say to the body, I don't need you, I don't need these things, because it's all knit together and it's all tied in as one.
I love that you said that, because you not only cry with them, but you also rejoice with them.
Absolutely.
That same passage there. I think we also need to understand Deuteronomy 6, 1-9, where we talk about loving the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And he's talking to Israelites here, but he's also talking to us. The way in which you teach your children the truth when you get up, when you lie down, put it everywhere, post it everywhere. I think that it's kind of interesting that even today, in today's society with social media, we're to continue to post. We're to continue to put things. We're to continue to hang signs of the truth. And I think we have lost sight of that. And we've stopped doing that because of whether it be embarrassment or afraid of being chastised. Nobody's going to put you on a cross today. They're just not.
Thank goodness.
I know, right? Someone else did that for you. You didn't have to do that. And so don't worry about that. I mean, everybody's worried about their social status or their business status. And, you know, I think God's going to take care of us. I think if we do the right thing, be the right people, and follow the God that created all things and will prepare all things, is preparing all things for us, then that's going to make our life worth living.
You know, Paul, I do think, though, that, and we do need to kind of talk about this side, is there is a wrong way that Christians can react.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I'm not sure necessarily that getting up and making fools of ourselves either.
Yeah, that's true.
Is the best way of going up and, you know, I still remember back in the day when the federal courthouse in Montgomery had the 10 Commandments and the protests that took place outside, and there's still one scene that pops into my head that's just like of this guy sitting outside and he's crying because they took this statue out, this monument out, and I've said, you know, that's probably not the best way for us to react either.
Yeah.
And so there is wrong ways for Christians to react. You know, there's a lot of people that go and kill abortion doctors in the name of God. Well, that's still murder.
Yeah.
And trust me, I understand that. But we can't justify one wrong by doing another wrong.
That's true. Absolutely.
And I think people need to remember that.
Yeah. So we talked about the abortion issue in New York State, but also the fact that stop doing the abortions, start having the adoptions. Okay. And then when it comes to the transgender issue with the military, I mean, and I know Trump was going for this, but I think Christianity and God, I think, had a win there.
Yeah.
I don't think he lives by those, but I think it's good for us to see at least some good happening. When everybody talks about how that, you know, our country's going to pot, it's awful, it's terrible, terrible president, terrible Congress, everything like that. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, something like this happens, and so I think you kind of have to understand that good things are going to occur, and God is listening to the faithful and the prayers. And sorry, Trump's not praying. So I think that we need to. I think that's something we need to continue to do and keep praying in our lives and to do that.
Yeah, I think I like what Jerry's saying. He's saying I've seen the response on his page this week is much like what we're saying about being pro-life. Thousands, we need to be responsive but responsible. Remember, we serve a mighty God that loves all souls, post wisely. And that's the thing I think we got to remember. And we may not like this thought, but we do need to remember that even our enemies, Jesus said to love.
That's true.
He said, you love your enemies. You do good to those who despitefully use you. You do these things. You live by what's right, because God didn't just die for those who are watching this show that are in agreement with what we're saying. He died for everybody, including those that we can't stand, and including those that we may not like the choices that they do. But we need to remember that God did comes to bring Jesus to save the whole world.
Right.
Which includes the abortion doctors, which includes the liberal politicians, which do include the terrorists, and those people that we may not like.
Well, that's why, and odds are you're not going to have a conversation or be able to talk to a terrorist today. But odds are you're talking to somebody that probably disagrees with you.
Right.
That's why we talk. That's why we have conversations. That's why you
But nobody's talking
send
anymore. Nobody's
messages.
listening. But no, take it back. Everybody's talking. Nobody's listening.
I think they're listening. I don't think they're sharing.
They're definitely not sharing.
And that's a sidebar to right now. Hit share on this conversation and put it places if you don't mind. This is our commercial in the middle of our show. So please do that. If you're listening, please share this. It's important to us and to the future of this program. We talk about things, and sometimes we're not going to be just like the Pharisee on the street corner. I mean, we're not going to stand out there and tell the world, but we have a message to share. Mm-hmm. We have the internet. We have our opportunities with people we minister to, and congregations and towns that we able to visit. But also, I think don't be scared to have those conversations with friends at school, at work, and just because they're conversations. We don't want to don't be hating people about it. Mm-hmm. Just speak the truth in love. I think Paul talked about that in Ephesians, and I think we need to. But the fact of the matter is, we got to be speaking it, and what happens is, and you're right, when we do that and people hear it, they're like, yeah, that's good, but they do nothing about it.
Right.
And that's the point you're trying to make here, the point you did make, that we need to start doing that. And we need to start sharing not just the message to help our world, to help this world, to bring more to the lost and dying world, to him, but also just an opportunity to have an open dialogue. And it all comes about to people. We're relationship people. We love people, and I think if you're the kind of person that loves people, they're going to listen to you. They're going to listen to you. A lot depends on body language and the tone and the way in which you approach. So I think we need to be careful about that. Mm-hmm. Make sure our approach is one of a caring nature, not one of a I'm going to destroy you nature.
Well, we do got to be careful. There's a lot of things on the internet. There's a lot of things on YouTube in the name of Christianity that sometimes I watch just to, I guess, kind of see what's out there. Mm-hmm. I guess is a way to saying, and there's a lot of damage that's done in the name of Christianity by certain groups. Mm-hmm. By certain groups. And we've got to watch what we do. And it starts here at home. It starts within our homes. It starts with our neighbors. It starts with our community. It starts all into all into different things like this. Caleb says, need to break into this world is not my home. That is true. This world is not our home. And I think that is one thing that we've got to remember as Christians. As things take place within this world, we may not like them. We may not always agree with them. But we also need to remember that this world is just temporary. It is something that we're going for is better. And what happens around us, and this is something I know you try to press upon your young people that you've worked with over the years, I have too, and adults as well, is just because somebody does something to you, it's how you respond to things. Those are your responsibilities. And the world around us can be going to pot, but we are still to be faithful to Christ and faithful to His Word and what He says.
That's a great point. That's a good job.
Oh, you've missed saying that, haven't you?
You did good. Yeah. You good. There's a few other little things that are going on around our country that is sad, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you had control. And so I thought, some quick hits here we're going to talk about.
Quick hits.
The first one is really unfortunate, very unfortunate, but it's coming across the newsreel. We're looking at it over here to my behind Podine's shoulder here. Since the shutdown, John, you don't see it anymore.
Oh.
Since the shutdown, and let me just say this, at Exposure Youth Camp this past year, about a month ago now, Ryan Daniel did a great presentation on pornography.
Right.
And knowing what's what and being aware of things. And not only did he tell us the stats, he actually mentioned if you know someone who's involved and deep into it, this is what you can do to help bring them out. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. So if you need someone to come speak on that, Ryan Daniel is your guy.
That's your man right there.
Yeah, we have his contact information. Send us an email. We'll get it to you. But he did say this. He said that the money that the porn industry has made outweighs that of Major League Baseball.
Wow.
NBA.
Wow.
College football.
Wow.
NFL. NASCAR. All combined. And that makes me sick.
Wow.
But what's happened is, even where it was, the porn industry has increased even more so since this governmental shutdown. So what's happened is, I hate saying idle hands, but you have the the devil's working because people aren't.
Because people aren't working.
I mean,
that's exactly true.
And I'm not making a joke. I'm being serious here. You give people time, and they're going to go towards the bad things, and that's why it's just a shame.
It is.
Oh, it's awful.
It is, and you know, and it comes back with all that. It comes back to self-control. It's still amazing. And here's the thing. You know, I got. There are things that get sent to us on social media. How many requests or friend requests on Instagram or Facebook or anything like this that are fake accounts that are people are trying to get you to follow that lead to an ungodly pornography website.
Right. Yeah. It's terrible.
And it's just these phones. And I know, speaking when was working on the campus there at Faulkner, how many guys and girls, you'd be surprised how many girls actually too, struggle with pornography. Struggle with it. Just struggle with it.
Yeah.
And so I got you. I get you completely with that.
You mentioned phone calls and things like that. Another issue coming out that everybody's dealing with is the robot calls. Some calls.
So I do not answer if I do not know that number.
Some calls are not robot calls. You'll get this phone call like this. They'll call and ask for John, and you'll say, "Well, sorry, you're not here." Yeah. They'll call and ask for Steve, and you'll say the wrong number. Oh, you're not Steve. Well, let me ask you about this. I'm like, no, you wanted to talk to Steve. Steve's not here. I'm done. This is how they get you. Is it sinful? Is it not? Nah, it's just, it really gets on my nerves. so
you hang up.
There's an app you can get to get rid of all that stuff. The problem is it's like $5 like a month, and it's expensive. I think it's expensive for an app versus just hanging up on folks. But there are things in there that like you said, will get you and grab your phone. I had a phone call the other day. And a lady called me, and she said, "You called me." I'm like, "No, I didn't." "Yeah, you called me 10 minutes ago." I said, "No, I was in this situation. I did not call you." "Well, I received a phone call from your number." See, what they do is they grab your number, and they use your number to call other people, and so you become part of the problem. And so just be careful. Try not to answer phones that are not yours.
Oh, I don't.
You never know where it leads to.
Hey, there was one that came through last night, and I was like, "Don't know this number," but it said Henderson, Tennessee on it, so I'm like, all right, I probably better should answer this number. And it was Freed-Hardeman.
That's funny. I get those.
They were asking about the lectureship and if I wanted to donate money to help with it and everything. And so you'll be getting yours.
I'm sure
soon.
I will.
Yeah, you'll be getting yours soon.
Did you tell them I'll be giving my money when we give you a vendor fee for being there?
Oh my goodness! There was one time, and just all Christian schools, and I love all the Christian schools,
all do it.
and I wish I could support all of them. I wish I had the financial.
I used to be that kid at Faulkner. I was one of those kids upstairs in the old admissions building, making phone calls asking for Faulkner.
I remember one time and
work study,
and I was sitting there and I got a phone call. This was right before chapel. Was it right before chapel or right after chapel at Faulkner? And I walk outside, and she's asking for money and blah 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 blah. And I said, "Do you see the address that's on your screen and everything?" I said, "Yeah, I work at Faulkner University." I was like,
"Who are they calling from? What school was it?"
Freed-Hardeman.
It was Freed.
It was funny.
That's bold choice, Freed-Hardeman.
It was great.
Good
I loved it.
We look forward to seeing all y'all in 2 weeks.
Yes, I know. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be great. I love it. I wish I could support all of our schools. I really do. I wish I had the money to be able to give the ones that I don't have a problem with. Caleb asking, does Paul already have a drink cup with the new AIM logo? Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
And I got one too. It's over there.
Yeah. It's AIM on one side.
It is? What's on the other side, Paul?
On the other side. I'm trying to look at the thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. And the other side is Exposure Youth Camp.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Like on mine, I have the ChickfilA chick. And on the other side, bring on the RSVPs.
Not as cool. Not as cool. No, we actually just ordered those for our board members for Exposure.
Raul joined us. He said we must protect our youth.
Yeah.
I was glad to get to see Raul last weekend.
Raul's a good guy.
Hope I get to see you some more time soon.
Good guy, does some good stuff.
Oh, what is Exposure? Just kidding.
Is that what he said?
No, Colin said that.
Oh my goodness. Colin Little?
Yes.
Boy.
Oh man, but we do got. We are glad we could be back here on the air. There are some sport things coming.
You're missing something.
Am I missing something?
Yeah,
what am I missing?
We had one more thing.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
A tragedy that happened, and John's skipping it because it happened in Florida.
Oh.
Florida's got a lot of things going on this week. It's had a rough week, but in this case, in the city of Pensacola, there was a lady who was dancing naked in the parking lot at the Waffle House. Threatening the lives of the manager and people on the inside, and so they did find her a blanket and put her in cuffs and take her away. So, her bail was $800. So,
well, she didn't have any pockets to be.
I know. Where would you get that from, lady? It's a blanket. It doesn't have pockets.
Oh my word! Well, that's West Florida, so that's not Northeast Florida. So we'll blame it. We'll blame it on.
That's not cool. We got a lot of friends in Pensacola. Oh man! Sorry, City Kills. We love you.
Oh my goodness! What are y'all doing down there? Come on.
Well, to be fair, I don't believe she's someone who attended it occasionally. She was busy.
I get to fly to Florida next week.
Oh, that's right.
I got to fly to Orlando, turn around and fly back.
I lived there once.
You lived in Orlando?
You knew that, right?
I was born near there.
Yeah, you were.
I was.
You were.
Yeah.
That's true.
Many years ago.
Yep. My dad preached at the Pine Castle Church.
Did he really?
I lived off Orange Avenue.
Oh.
Early high school, middle school time.
Oh man, Colin's like, woo, those Florida folks.
There's
some interesting people. I can promise you that. We are. We're a special breed.
We crossed paths one time in Florida.
We did.
It was neat.
Yeah, back in Jacksonville.
That was the history of the Podine
Yes.
connection.
Before we knew that there was a Podine Sperling connection,
I know.
we had crossed paths.
He was my song leader at my church I attended. I didn't know it.
I was still in high school, man. What are you talking about?
I was in the Navy, and I'm like, good worship, fun place to worship. So.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you came over from Mayport, didn't you?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Lived in the big carrier.
Oh goodness gracious.
It was neat.
Got some sports?
You
got anything that's on your mind that you need to get off for these last few weeks?
I know we're getting up on the second. Last second. We had the
signing
period earlier in the college football season time frame. This is which is the first Wednesday of February, and so that'll usually happens while we're at lecture. We're talking about that.
I do got a question to ask you. What do you think about the Super Bowl matchup?
I could care less.
Really?
I could stinking care less.
There's been some good games in the football and some controversy, especially with that Rams-Saints game and the non-pass interference.
Let's back up. That was bad.
Oh, that was a bad, terrible call.
Did the Saints threaten to sue the NFL? Did I read that somewhere?
I think there's been a lot of craziness been out after that game.
It's funny because someone said that they threatened to sue and that they're going to hold the Super Bowl until they can figure it out. I'm like, trust me, they're not holding the Super Bowl.
They're not holding the Super Bowl for nothing. But
it was a terrible call.
But
I watched that game.
I think the play of the NFL has gotten better this year.
Well, they're protecting the quarterback.
I don't like that. That's but the other game, when Brady got. They called a roughing the passer on him because a guy's finger went across his face mask.
Well, that's Tom Brady.
Yeah, I know.
They don't do that for anybody else.
Oh, I do want to mention this. I do, Landon. I've got to agree with you on this. We'll get
I'm not seeing the stuff you're seeing here.
I know. I had to restart it up. The NFL, though, if you'll notice that they came out with an article today that the price of commercials, 30-second commercials, about $5.3 million, which is basically static from where it was last year, or a little bit down. So interesting that NFL may have an image problem.
Huh.
But one thing I do want to talk about here is this, and I agree with Landon. He says this: the transfer portal is ruining college football, and early enrollee at USC has already entered his name into the portal to transfer.
Yeah, to Tennessee. He wants to go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
I heard about that this morning. I like it better when it's once you've graduated college, you can do whatever you want to do.
I don't mind that.
It keeps growing into a free agency market. But here's the thing: if coaches can be looking for the next best thing, why can't the players? And that's the defense. That
I understand.
It's hard to go against.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I completely understand.
This guy goes to USC, and he's told that Cliff Kingsbury is going to be his offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? A week later,
Right.
he's gone. Which why wouldn't he be gone? I'd much rather be
In the NFL.
head coach for the Arizona Cardinals than USC. Although I mean, it's pro, but
I don't like it becoming. I don't mind the graduate transfers. I don't mind that at all.
I'm with you on that,
but it's just like
where a coaching direction has changed. I don't know, and I know that's too specific.
I understand. No, I understand what you're saying with that. I don't know, man. It's just the one that bugs me a lot. I'm not going to be honest. Is Justin Fields from Georgia, and especially with what they're trying to play and use to get the transfer in. To be able to play immediately. I mean, if you want to transfer, you can transfer, sit out the year, do what you're supposed to do, and everything like that, and sit out the year. That's fine, but it's become a free agency, and you got these quarterbacks that are leaving, and look, Jalen's a graduate quarterback, but Kelly Bryant, when he was going in there, and he's just like, I'm going to go to all these different schools, I'm going to talk to all of these coaches, going to get all these fan bases, and then what does it say to the people who are there?
Just like a free agency.
It's absolutely like it, and that's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, I like the same thing. I'm with you on that.
And so,
definitely,
there's probably going to be some rules changed. I would assume there's going to be. They're talking about making some rule changes in college football for the targeting.
I was about to say
targeting one, targeting two.
Definitely on that.
Yeah, there's sometimes I hate when the guys get called for targeting.
Anytime helmets touch,
they're
going to throw the flag and eject him. And I'm like, okay.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what comes down with early signing or the national signing day and see where everybody actually falls through.
For sure.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, you got that. You got March Madness is right on the corner.
It is
a month away.
I think this could be one of the better March Madnesses.
For the SEC, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we'll have more SEC teams in there that usually aren't. They're playing pretty well. This weekend is the SEC Big 12 matchup weekend, so we'll see what happens on that one as well. So, a lot of things happening right now in the world of sports. I was wrong on the Chargers. I really thought the Chargers would beat the Patriots. So I'm getting back to NFL. But I mean, we do have a Pro Bowl. Yeah, we have a Pro Bowl coming up, and then we have a who cares about that? But then we have
Super Bowl
coming up. I can't even think of words. So do you think it's a done deal? Patriots win this one, or does Scott McVay, does he pull another rabbit out of the hat and win on a
I don't know. It'd be interesting. You got Gurley versus is it Sony Michelle?
Oh, that's right.
That'd be interesting. The two Georgia running backs
That'd be fun.
playing against each other.
Yeah.
Of course, Gurley didn't have a good game against the Saints.
He did not.
It'll be interesting. I mean, how do you go against the Patriots?
Who has the better game, Sony Michelle or Gurley?
I think Gurley has the better game. I think Patriots win.
Yeah.
Because
obviously, I'm pulling for the Rams because I hate the Patriots. But yeah, it's funny. The whole mentality is different. In college, being a Bama fan, it's like I'm enjoying being on the top of the hill, and I don't understand why everybody hates us. But in the pros, I can't stand the Patriots. I can't stand them, which is hard to do because my cousin.
Oh my word!
I mean, God forbid me say anything bad about his love for the Patriots, but. Davey was a couple years older than me. He passed a few years ago. Miss him deeply. He was a Capitals fan. The year he died, they actually won the cup.
The cup.
And I was like, man, if you just see this now. And then I got thinking, but you don't talk about the pros because you're able to watch that every year.
That's great. Yep.
So it's tough, but I just can't do it. Can't. I can't like them.
That's crazy.
Love and miss him, but not for them. And they have the same coach. They have the same coach that Bama does. It's the same guy.
Same guy.
Oh man, I want to see Nick wear the cutoff hoodie.
Hey, did you see
the cutoff arms there? I want to see him wear that.
Nick Saban was at Mobile Christian yesterday.
Really?
Yep, he's at Mobile Christian looking at some players because Mobile Christian's had a couple of good years.
That's good
in there, and so yeah.
He came to Hewlett Trustful last week.
Did he?
In a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
He landed on the...
Good, because he didn't want to go through 2059.
That's exactly right. I mean, I'm sure it looks like a Magnum PI. I mean, I was like, I got your music. I can put your music on here. And we'll play some Magnum and get you going. So, no, he landed, and one of our members' nephew, I think it was, He was going to and talk to him a little bit, so it was pretty cool.
Huh. Lane, you didn't get to see him yet?
No, not yet. He's not. Well, he's not going to the elementary schools quite yet.
Why not?
I mean, next year she'll be at the middle school, so maybe she'll see him next year.
Yeah, there you go.
Get him early. So yeah.
Well, Paul.
Well, John, the sound of your voice tells me we're almost done here. It's like a tick in my head. It's like it's time to go.
Well, Paul.
So we have enjoyed being here today. It's been good to be with you, John. It's good.
It's good to see you, Paul.
It's good to meet you again, and it's good to get to see how what you look like now and everything. A few things we do want to make sure you know that our listening audience understands and is aware of is that we are here in the Palisades Church building here in the basement, right next to the Connections Cafe, where we are sponsored by the Palisades Church of Christ and Lads to Leaders program and adventuresinministry.com. AIM has a brand new website and the brand new app is out. You need to go back and delete and update your AIM app and get all the new stuff. And the new newsletter, John, goes out every 15th of every month with a new resource and information on podcasts and other things. We have 4 or 5 other podcasts we have each month. So check that out. Enjoy the devotional songs. And, of course, the series comes out June 1. AIMCon is third weekend of July with Lonnie Jones and Drake Jenkins and others. And so looking forward to that. A lot of good things coming up. Thank you for being here. I'm Paul Sperlin. This is Jon Paul. This has been the Jon Paul Show. Look us up on the website at jonnpaulshow.com. Gmail.com is our email address. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and thank you for being here. This has been the Jon Paul Show. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. Do something for somebody else. As God blesses you, let's bless other people.
Amen.
Take care. Laters.